This is an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean where thousands of rats and millions of penguins once lived together. But no one could have imagined how terrible this event would one day become. At first, no one paid much attention to what was happening on this small island. Everything seemed normal. But gradually, scientists began to understand that an environmental disaster was happening here that was beyond their imagination. It was a situation where the natural order of nature had broken down. This island became a real example of how terrible the consequences can be whenever humans interfere with nature in this way. The people there saw with their own eyes how everything had changed. But the question is, what happened to these thousands of rats in the end? Did they survive, or were they destroyed? And how did such a disaster of nature occur here? Let's try to find out the whole truth about the tragic incident on this secret island in today's video. Macquarie Island is located in the middle of the Southern Ocean of Australia. It is a small, remote, and beautiful island. But the dark history of this quiet island began in 1810, when some sailors first discovered it. At that time, the island was like a paradise for penguins and seals. They had no natural predators there, so they could live in peace. The island, surrounded by numerous trees and thick grass, was their safe haven. But gradually, hunters from Europe started coming here. They hunted indiscriminately for the meat and skin of seals. Not only seals, they also started hunting birds and penguins. As a result, by 1918, the seals on this island were almost completely extinct. However, the real danger had not yet begun. Rats unknowingly arrived on the island with the hunters' ships. As soon as the ships landed on the shore, the rats would disembark and quickly spread all over the island. At first, no one paid attention to these small creatures, but soon the situation changed. The rats adapted very naturally to the new environment and began to reproduce at an incredible rate. Within just a few weeks, their number increased to thousands. Since there was no animal on the island to control them, their population went out of control. Gradually, the entire island became filled with rats. They entered the nests of birds and destroyed eggs and chicks. The birds that used to nest safely on the ground had never faced such danger before, so they easily fell prey to the rats. Not only birds, but rats also destroyed fruits, flowers, and seeds. As a result, new plants could no longer grow. Gradually, the green nature of the island began to disappear. At first, the hunters could not understand this change. But when they saw that the rats were destroying the food they had brought and there were almost no birds around, they understood the seriousness of the danger. To solve this problem, they decided to release some cats on the island. They thought that the cats would catch the rats and make everything right. But this is where the second disaster began. Instead of catching rats, the cats chose birds as easy prey. They climbed the rocks, broke bird nests, and easily caught and ate them. It was much easier for them to catch birds than rats. Gradually, due to one wrong decision after another, the situation on this island became more and more dangerous. Then the number of cats gradually increased. Every year, these cats killed about 60,000 seabirds. As a result, numerous bird species became completely extinct from this island. The situation became so bad that at one time the entire island was ruled by rats and cats. But it didn't end there. Then another terrible problem began. At that time, sailors used to bring rabbits with them for food during long sea voyages. Similarly, European hunters also released rabbits on this island so that if they continued to grow, there would be no shortage of food in the future. But there was no predator on the island to control the rabbits. As a result, along with rats and cats, the number of rabbits also increased rapidly. Gradually, the rabbits started eating small trees and bushes. In these bushes, albatrosses used to build nests and hide themselves. But as the trees were destroyed, they easily became prey to cats. Not only that, the rabbits also started eating the green grass of the island. Gradually, the entire island became almost like a desert. Once upon a time, this island looked like a golf course. Rabbits not only ate plants, but also ate the roots of small trees and dug holes in the ground to build nests. As a result, the soil became weak and gradually problems like landslides and soil erosion occurred. These landslides often destroyed bird nests. In 2006, a large landslide occurred on the east side of the island where numerous penguins were crushed to death. On the other hand, the cats brought in to kill rats were getting easy food by hunting birds and rabbits. Because of this, their numbers also increased rapidly, but the breeding of rabbits was even faster. In just 1 month, rabbits gave birth to 6 to 12 babies, and within 4 months they reached full maturity. As a result, within a few years, the rabbit population exceeded 100,000. Now these three animals, rats, cats, and rabbits, were destroying the environment of the entire island. Gradually, the green grass and plants almost completely disappeared. Birds also stopped coming to the island. About 15 to 20 bird species suddenly disappeared at that time. This island, once full of biodiversity, had become almost a pile of ruins. Finally, when the government came to know about this terrible situation, they decided that the lost biodiversity of the island should be restored at any cost. The governments of Australia and Tasmania started working together, and as a first step, they decided to remove the cats from the island. All the cats were caught one by one in traps around the island and removed. In just 2 years, about 5,000 cats were shot and killed. But as soon as the cats left, new problems arose. Suddenly, the number of rabbits increased dramatically. These rabbits ate about 70% of the grass and plants on the entire island. This problem became even more serious than before. Then the Australian and Tasmanian governments started another big mission. The total cost of this mission was about $24 million. The main goal was to completely remove rats and rabbits from the island. First, they targeted rabbits. Scientists came up with a new method because rabbits loved to eat carrots. So a type of virus called hemorrhagic disease virus was mixed with carrots. After the rabbits ate the carrots, the virus quickly spread in their bodies and they slowly died. This method worked widely. Within a few days, about 80% of the rabbits died. However, some rabbits and numerous rats were still alive. To completely eliminate them, scientists came up with another big plan. Helicopters were used to drop about 300 tons of poison across the entire island, excluding the places where penguins and seals lived. The effect was terrible. Numerous rats and surviving rabbits were almost completely destroyed. This operation was carried out in winter because many birds had moved to other places. This made the birds less likely to be harmed. In addition, a team regularly collected dead animals so that no birds would get sick by eating poisoned corpses. Still, some rats and rabbits survived by hiding. Specially trained dogs were brought in to find them. These dogs could detect only the smell of rats and rabbits, but not penguins or seals. The dogs found their hiding places one by one, and the scientists finished them off. Finally, after several years of effort, it was possible to completely eradicate rats and rabbits from this island. After a long struggle, in 2014, Macquarie Island was declared rat and cat-free. The island, which was once almost deserted, became green and alive again. Even the lost birds slowly started to return. If people had not made these mistakes in the beginning, would this beautiful island ever have faced such a disaster? And would people have to do such inhumane things? In our world today, are we still making the same mistakes? You can write your opinion in the comment box. If you liked today's video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next new episode. Thank you.